from literally meeting over Instagram until this episode, I absolutely loved our chat with Ryan Chisesi and chatting about photography, the beauty and barber industry, mental health, and just wanting to save all the dogs. Okay, like you are gonna love this episode of the Beauty Pro podcast. If you want to start your own business and you want to create your own empire, you're gonna love it. If you have a desire to work with some of the top names in the world, from celebrities to celebrity stylists to lawyers to doctors, I am telling you, catch this episode of the Beauty Pro podcast and catch my chat over on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts with Ryan Chisesi right now. Are you a beauty or barber pro looking for that push to do that thing you've always wanted to do, whether it's in or out of the salon, spa, or shop? Are you tired of not feeling good enough, smart enough, skilled enough? Are you tired of not getting a handle on your mental health, boundaries, and insecurities? I'm Christine Sherwood, the Beauty Pro Coach, an internationally certified coach, a salon and spa owner, and your personal Jiminy Cricket. I use my own experiences, good and bad, as a salon owner to help you be more self-aware, authentic, and forward-thinking in your approach to life, in and out of the salon. It's time to reach your version of success with the Beauty Pro Coach podcast. Hello, my friends. This episode of the Beauty Pro Podcast is really cool. I met this guy through somebody else on Instagram, and all because of Mr. Corey from Hairstylist. So shout out to Corey. But everybody, I want you to meet a very special person, EditButter Cheese, but he has a name. How are you?
I'm so good. I forgot that was even on there. I hardly use Zoom, but yeah. My name is Ryan. The company is EditButter, but my nickname is Cheese because nobody could pronounce my last name. So perfect start.
So do I say it right? Did I say it right? Chisesi?
Chisesi, you got it.
Chisesi, score for me. Okay.
You rock.
Cool.
Well,
so tell everybody what you do, Ryan, and how we got connected.
oh goodness, what do I do? What don't I do? So I am a crazy person who started my own business doing media content, originally just for beauty brands, but I also work with doctors. Long story short, I'm a former hairdresser, had 10 plus years behind the chair, turned into a video media person and producer. I run a small media team and we do video and social media productions for beauty brands, doctors, and help them with social media, etc., all to help them get eyeballs on their stuff to help them grow their business.
I love this so much because that means you are so ultra like visual. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And
Yeah.
both industries are super visual. And the fact that you have the ability to do both, you can just be like, you know what, let me just get in there and just like cut that hair. Thank you. And it makes the picture better.
Yes. Literally.
So
Absolutely.
what happened? Okay, if you don't mind sharing, like what happened that you're no longer doing hair?
Okay. So great question.
Mhm.
It actually is because, let me take it back. So the person who introduced us, a really hysterical, great person named Mikey Denton.
What's up, Mikey?
Yep. What's up, Mikey? I don't like you at all, Mikey. Terrible human being. We have a hate-hate relationship.
So funny, you guys. If you could see the Instagram DMs, like, what the heck? But go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, it's true. He's a terrible human being. I wouldn't recommend him at all. Um, he used to own a barbershop in Portland, Oregon, where he used to live, called Brick and Mortar Grooming and Supply, something like that. And he was my boss. He picked me up from another place, brought me in. I was an independent barber at the time. And long story short, Mikey was my boss, became a really close friend. Him and his family became really close. And he pulled pranks on me all day in the barbershop. One of the best experiences of my life working with Mikey, even though I hate him. And I got hurt. I used to be very into bodybuilding. I was yeah, I was one of those guys with all the muscles, all the stuff, super obsessed with that world, got
Mm.
hurt, tore my shoulder, tore my bicep, messed up my elbow, my whole arm. It's all a mess still, but I'm working through
Oh,
it.
okay.
I had to go get my arm fixed. Didn't know what I was going to
Mm.
do. During that downtime after recovering from surgery, I moved back home to Colorado. Uh, I was already running the Instagram account for brick and mortar back in the day,
Mhm.
doing social media lightly back in like 2016, 2017 for them and for myself. Um, Doubled down on that. And I was like, this is something I actually really like. I love photography. I love video. I grew up doing art. I have a background in art. I went to college for art. I had art scholarships. I do all that junk. And I was like, maybe I can move it into here. So I learned how to do social media as best I could, got
Mm.
a basic camera. And I told myself, I'm going to learn how to use this thing.
Mm.
And that's it. I literally just dove head first. And because of my experience in hair, I
Mhm.
was then able to work with people in hair, started for free, worked with anybody I could, got some great connections, worked my way up the ladder. And now I'm a crazy person on the internet telling people they should do the same if they want fun chaos in their life.
I love it. So like like visually what is so like what's missing for people? Like I'm sure you see some salons and some hairstylists, independents, and their Instagram is probably like a visual wreck.
So, you know what's interesting? I find the more I progress into things. So
Hmm.
part of that background as well is I went into school for art, but
Hmm.
then I actually switched into psychology. So my background is actually fully like I have the art background, but the rest of my degree, all that stuff is in psychology. And so I have like a clinical psychology background, abnormal psychology. I'm interested in what makes the brain work. So I
Mm.
have this aspect of beauty, what
Mhm.
looks good, what doesn't look good. But then you get reminded as you start to move forward into some things, obviously everything's subjective. And I learned very quickly the things that I love, a lot of people don't like. And
Mm.
that's fine. Right. So when I
Mhm.
think about like when you mentioned like, well, maybe what's working on Instagram account or not, a lot of the things I would say for someone to do, 90% of other people go, what? That's an awful
Mm.
idea. And I often agree. I'm like, yeah, it's an awful idea for you. So now
Mm.
we've kind of basically I've evolved in the sense that I can make really pretty pictures. I can make pretty videos. I can button things up and do these big things for companies. I've worked with everybody from, like Schwarzkopf. I
It's
was
a
going to
new
say
company,
Redken.
guys.
Yeah.
New
Oh
company
my
just
gosh,
launched.
Schwarzkopf. Oh, who am I? I mean, you name the big companies in hair.
Yeah,
I've done video campaigns and things for every single one of them. I've
that's
traveled
so
around the
cool.
world, filming influencers, working for big companies, big and small, like you name it,
Mhm.
I've done it. What I
That's so cool.
found now is that I enjoy figuring out what makes people tick in the brain to get them to
Mm.
actually watch somebody's content so that way, if they actually have something of value, we can get more people to pay attention to that thing of value and not only help that person, but help that creator grow their business at the same time. Kind of a give kind of thing. Cause I truly believe like everybody, like a lot of people will shun like courses or other things like that. I'm pro courses, I'm pro online education, I'm pro anything that actually is meant with the intent to help others. And those are the people I like to work with. And
Mm.
like that's kind of how I go. So to wrap that up, an
Yeah.
Instagram page to me, I honestly don't care what it looks like. And I think people that care too much about what it looks like and not the actual value inside the video itself,
Hmm.
that's where the concern falls for me. And that's how I've been able to grow.
That is so cool. I love
Hopefully.
all of that
Thanks.
because like I mean as a coach of course like
Yeah.
I'm really into personal development and psychology and why do we do the things that we do and what has formed
Yeah.
us to make those decisions. And so to hear you talk about that and it's really just the quality is so much it's so oh I just love it. It's so refreshing.
Cool. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, what do you think is like your secret to success? Like for those people listening who do want to work with the big brands and maybe they don't want to be a stylist or a beauty pro for the rest of their life. Like what is your definition and your secret to success?
Wow. That's such a good question because it's loaded in so many areas, right?
Mm.
Again, I think everything again is subjective. What is success to you? And then what do you truly value? And what are your actual end goals, right? All of that is going to determine. So my idea for success is probably not a lot of other people's success. The biggest things that have helped me get any form of anywhere from literally, I just started out with like, you could see it. I have random videos all over the place. Half of them are gone now and others you can find archived. But I started with a $600 camera, like I said, after my surgery, and I figured out how to use that camera. And I worked for free for a long time. I mean, for a long time. And I did work with major influencers making a lot of money and bigger brands producing a lot of money and made zero money from them. But I got to be in their networks. And then I got introduced to more people. And through those people, I met celebrities. And then through those celebrities, I met big companies. And so within a year and a half of picking up that little camera, I had done a commercial for Planet Fitness. I worked with major like music stars like Ciara, met Russell Wilson, like done all these like crazy things. And I literally still at that time, not even kidding, barely knew how to use that camera. I knew like 3 functions, but I knew how to use it kind of.
Awesome.
And it got me that far, literally from just being willing to, be that person who was kind of getting the raw end of the deal in a lot of people's eyes. So anyways, it's just chaos and risk. How much chaos are you willing to accept, and how much risk are you willing to take? And is it worth it for the output in the end? And I actually made a video on it the other day where I'm like, a lot of people have to figure out, is working a regular job or being an entrepreneur really for you? Because a lot of people think they want to do these things, but there's a lot involved in, it's not always pretty and it's not always emotionally easy. And like, I turned more gray in the last few years of really scaling this business than I don't even recognize myself.
Yeah.
So what does success look like to you? What are you willing to do to get it? And then what ideas in your head are you willing to adjust as you evolve will really determine your success, because my ideas of success and how to do things before have changed a lot. And a lot of that involves, again, what risk you can take, and then also how much of your own ego you can really destroy and like crush, because I found that ego is the biggest destroyer of everything.
Yeah.
And working with some of those big people back in the day, I had a much bigger ego. I thought a lot higher of myself. And honestly, if I could go back, I would have worked longer with some of these people and done more things for free for longer, because I think the outcome might have been better. But I thought I deserved more than I really did at the time. Now where I'm at, I'm like, okay, I kind of see maybe their opinions of me and what I did and how I did it. And nothing bad, just like, I want money. And they're like, well, we're not paying. I'm like, I'm not going to work with you.
Okay.
And then you go, oh, I shouldn't have stopped doing that because all these other jobs came from all these other people.
Yeah.
Anyways, define what success is for you and really determine what you're willing to give for it, and realize that you may not be as good as you think you are. And even when you get really good, you're probably still not that good. You've just picked up some skills that make you look pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So what would you say is like a trait or a strength that somebody needs to have to put a business of any kind?
To like build one?
Yeah. Because, like there's like a lot of, speaking with the beauty world, there's a lot of independence, and they're like, I'm going to do it because I don't like my boss, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to change everything. So what's a trait or a strength that they need? Because it is so much more than just putting a business, playing shop,
Well said. You know it. You know it. You've lived it.
I have. I got stories.
God, I bet. I want to hear those stories. Again, that comes back to ego and humility, how much you're willing to admit that you don't know as much as you think you know. And then to also realize that maybe that boss or the other person you were talking so much trash about was actually doing their best they actually could at the time. And it's harder than you think to just do the things you think should be done for you. Because once you step into that role, and I've now, I hire a lot of people. I've worked with a lot of people. I'm responsible for people's paychecks all over the place. And once you realize that, oh, they didn't do that the way I wanted, but then you realize I didn't give them the tools they needed. I didn't give them the proper instruction. It was my fault that they didn't deliver it correctly. And so because everything didn't go correctly, it's not because they messed up. Yeah, technically they may have messed up, but it was my responsibility from the start. to make sure they had whatever they needed to not mess up. So anybody's fault, anybody's mistakes, right, is always yours.
Yeah.
100% responsibility in a business every single time. So it's getting rid of, having humility, get rid of your ego,
Yeah.
and then accepting that everything is your fault every time. And then celebrate the wins too, but quickly move on from them, because another wave of that terror is going to hit you at the same
I love
time.
that.
At least that's how it's
Terror.
been for me.
Yeah,
Maybe yours has
for
been smoother, but I've had a lot
No.
of ups and downs.
It's like one thing after another, after another, after another. And people are like, oh my God, well, you must be doing something wrong. It's like, no, I'm doing everything right. That's why I'm having these problems.
I like that perspective.
But anyways, yeah, thank you. So
Yeah.
so what do you so we're talking about a lot of this of the success, like you worked with a lot of big names, cool people, all that stuff. But what's been some of your biggest failures?
Oh, goodness. Again, that first one was thinking that I deserved more earlier on than I really did.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest one. It was really accepting that. And then the other one, again, for me, it all just comes back to those same core things of ego and all of it. I remember back in the day, and it's funny because it's worked out in my favor. So if I were to show you a bunch of stuff that I edited early on,
Mhm.
it's very chaotic, very crazy, very quick, very fast paced. And like, I would get a lot of feedback from people that would be like, this is too much. It's too crazy. And I'd be like, you don't understand. This is awesome.
This is art. Okay.
Yeah. Not listening to the feedback from the audience. It's actually a dual thing, which is both teaching and in a good way and a bad way. And you have to really figure out how to pivot from that. So the reason I bring that up is that for this whole point is that's what helped me get to where I am. The crazy, chaotic edits, the weird things I was doing at the time, that's what got the attention of these bigger people. And I mean, I have like the DMs from back in the day that say, I like your stuff because it doesn't look like everybody else's.
Oh, yes.
So I was like, yeah, I'm onto something. But then thinking that that's going to apply everywhere else, and then being frustrated when other people don't want to fall in line to how cool your groundbreaking stuff is, that's that ego at play. And so now realizing that depending on what people want, I can give them a really cool, heavily edited just really cool piece of content that nobody's going to watch. Or I can figure out how to coach somebody on their cell phone to say a couple lines that's going to really strike either, laughter, anger, or something out of a bunch of people and boost their engagement through the roof. So it's really figuring out how to cater, to what a person actually needs and what that audience might like, and just letting go of your idea of, this was the thing that's going to keep getting me there. Now, again, I could be wrong. Had I tripled down on that and never left that, maybe I'd be doing even bigger commercial campaigns nowadays, but I didn't. So I've learned a lot through that and through that feedback. So I think the biggest mistake, again, was just thinking I was better than I was and not giving enough time and air to the feedback I was receiving outside of the world that thought I was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's an insult? What's your favorite insult that you've ever gotten that you're currently like so proud that you've got that insult?
So it's so funny. So the hoodie's over there. And if a lot of people look, I made a clothing line out of the basic one. So this is EB for EditButter. I'm not wearing one of my shirts, but I have a whole line of shirts and other stuff that just say your videos suck.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. Oh my God.
And then I made like a line out of it. So your videos suck. And then I have your marketing sucks. And then I was going to make a few others there too. So I have shirts and stuff that say all that. So it's the basic, just your videos suck, which I heard more times than I can count. So I made a line out of it because again, it's people, when I wear those shirts, people go, your marketing sucks. And I'm like, you read it. It's working. Like it's just getting people to engage.
Right.
Other than that, there was the every video looks the same and everything's too chaotic. And I'm like, well, the chaotic got me a lot of deals. So
and it got you a clothing line.
Yeah.
So great. That was really inspiring. I really like that.
Yeah, turn it around and use it, because people are like, you're attacking people with that. I'm like, no. I just took what other people said, made it a freaking billboard. I think it's hysterical, personally.
Oh, I do too, though. That's perfect.
Thanks. Yeah, I've got them all over the place.
Way to turn lemons into lemonade. Holy
Uh,
cow.
Hell yeah.
All right. So what are the 3 most influential people for you?
Oh, what are we talking? Like in regard to
Life,
in
like
life?
life, business, whatever you want.
Nice. That's always an evolving thing, I think,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So part of back to what you asked before and like success and all that. So long story short, basically everything I do is for my mom. So
Oh.
I love my mom very much and I take care of her. My mom, we had a she's my mom's disabled and she's like my why to like to like endure the chaos that I endure. So my mom is the first person I look up to solely for the fact that she's survived more than most people can fathom. And I've been through it, a lot of it with her and watched the ups and downs. And now as her primary caretaker as somebody with a mental disability, um, she's the only reason for why I do what I do and why I look up to because she's such a very positive, very good person who, in and out of hospital since she was 17, lots of different health things, on more medications than you can imagine, abuse, people looking down on her, like all these different things, which is funny because she has genius level IQ, had 3 different scholarships to college, in different sports, record fast reader, amazing musician and performer who, just did all these amazing things,
Yeah.
got sick to no fault of her own. And then
Mhm.
her entire life went from literally she was going to be valedictorian of her high school to graduating from a hospital bed and then never, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, she's my number one. And my
Mhm.
goal is to just take care of her. And right now I'm just trying to get to a point where I can just continue to make her life better and better at this point. Um, After that, it really just comes, it's probably just more of my family. I look up to them just because they've been there for me, regardless of what I think their opinions might be. They never let let worse things happen than could have, given the situation I grew up with, because single mom, my dad wasn't around, um, and they took care of me. Everybody else from that, I have new mentors and people I look up to every day. I watch YouTube religiously. I listen to podcasts religiously. I read and I listen to all these people who have done things that I want to do because I've learned very quickly that people that give you your opinions that haven't done what you want to do, I'm like, that's cool, but nah, this guy did what I want to do. I'm going to listen to this.
Right.
And then you pick and choose what works for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that a lot. Who are the 3, maybe who are your top 3 people that you want to work with? I'm going to drop some names.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually, there isn't anybody. I don't know. I guess I'd have to think about it more about who I'd want to work with.
Okay.
The only I get rid of even like any of that. I just want to work with cool people that like to have a good time and aren't afraid to take risks and that treat other people with respect. I've worked with enough people that again have that ego and have been terrible to me and others around me on the come up that I've learned I don't want to associate with them no matter how established or cool they are or what clout or money they can bring. I just want to work with cool people who are cool. And then,
Yeah.
especially when we take risks, when things
Yeah.
don't work, they go, that sucked. And I'm like, I know we shouldn't have done that. And then we find something else that did work and they're like, that makes up for it. And I'm like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have more an idea of a person than actual people.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that a lot because I know that not that I've met so many famous people, but when you do meet somebody and you have this perception of them and they're like, oh yeah, we could be friends, right? And then you meet them and you're like, oh wow, you suck like as
Yeah.
a person. Like this
Hard.
this sucks because you suck and I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't mentally prepared for this like disappointment.
Yeah. And I've had that. I've seen it. It's happened enough times where I'm just like, ugh, now I know you exist outside of this in this way. And you see them and you go, oh God.
It's like, wow, you're lying to everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. There's a lot of it. So you find what's positive, and I try to dive towards it, and because
Yeah.
again, growing up the way I grew up, a lot of terror emotionally and other stuff through the things I went through. So my mom has paranoid schizophrenia.
Mhm.
And when you grow up in a world where you feel like you're constantly being attacked and you're with somebody who is in and out of hospitals and I mean, I won't go into details.
No, it's fine.
It's a level, there's levels. I mean, I can, but I got stories for days, I tell you. But
Share all the things.
they are wild. They are wild. When you have a lot of that, you grow
Yeah.
up with a lot of that. I've recognized that I have a lot of anger and other stuff because of that, and it can come out. So I try to again focus into the positivity as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I love comedy and all that stuff. And there's a lot of people, again, I'd love to meet like in comedy
Sure.
and music and other stuff, but I
Sure.
don't dare meet them to then not be able to enjoy them anymore.
Oh, that's where you're at. That's
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand. You're like, no, no, no. Let me
Yeah.
not know the
Oh
truth.
yeah. Oh
Let
yeah.
me not.
Oh yeah.
So when it
You
comes to
get it.
I do. When it comes to mental health, how do you bring that to light? Maybe in your own work, with your employees, with just what you do?
Hmm.
If
Like,
you do at all, like, do you do any like charities and stuff for that or no?
so the so not currently, but like
Mhm.
in regards to like mental health and things of that nature, anybody that I work with, my
Yeah.
first priority is like always to just check in with them as a human.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work out because not everybody likes to work that way, which I've learned, which is sometimes tough, which again, like so a lot of people be like, how are you? This is not. They're like, good, here's this. I'm like, all right. But they got the job done, so I can't be upset, right? Um, but it's just checking in with the people that are at your core
Yeah.
and trying to take care of them. Currently I'm at that spot still. Like I wish I could say I like my company's making a gajillion dollars a month
Mm.
and I'm doing all these things. I'm not there yet. I'm still growing. I'm still learning how
Yeah.
to scale. This year's been our biggest year yet, but at the same time, I still don't have that possibility, that full capability to take care of someone who's disabled and all their needs and everything, and then do stuff for others. So right now, that main charity is still my family.
Yeah, no,
um,
that's totally fine because, we've talked a lot about all this like success, right?
yeah,
And people will see this episode or they'll listen to it and they're like, oh, this guy has all the things. He's like made a name for himself and all this stuff. But there's so much more that goes into it
yeah,
that people just don't, I don't know, they don't want to recognize or they just don't see it or I don't know what it is, but there's like a wall that they just hit and they don't want to get it. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Well said. Absolutely. Well, that comes down to the images that everybody holds of everybody, right?
Mhm.
And again, that's one of those things with social that everybody has to figure out how they feel about it. I think it to themselves.
Mhm.
Just because it seems like somebody's crushing it doesn't mean they are. We all know that.
Right.
I'm trying to get to that point and I have ideas of what I want to do. And not that I don't like I do.
Right.
I've helped out friends that are in need and I've given to charities
Sure.
and stuff like that. But
Right.
I would like to have like an ongoing thing and other stuff. And that is the goal. And then along with mental health and stuff like that, it literally for me, it is just like taking the chaos of what I do and then reminding myself that it's worth it in the sense that if I can take care of the people that matter most, it kind of makes it worth it.
Yeah.
That eases that a little bit.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then to keep myself from going insane, I just, I watch a lot of comedy.
Right.
I love
Right.
animals. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to, I've had multiple other surgeries and stuff. So I'm trying to physically get back to a point where I can do more physically, but literally just going for a walk, doing
Mhm.
those little things. And then when I get to a point, one of my biggest goals in life is to actually open like, I would love to have I don't know exactly what it would look like, but a house to like board and take care of dogs. Like that's what I would like to
Oh.
do. So that's one of my long-term goals.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Yeah. That's I want to do that because
Yeah.
that is important to me. I don't have any kids or anything like that. I'm older,
Right.
I'm 38 and everybody I know has like 75 kids and they're
I
going through
know.
divorce.
I hear you. I hear you. We're on the
So,
same boat. I got it.
you know, so I'm like, but the dogs,
I know.
they get me.
I don't know. I don't know if you heard him before, but my little 2-year-old beagle was like screaming his head off just before, and it's like,
I love it. I love it. Keep going. Keep going. Don't worry. This podcast, yeah, we're not that cool. Just keep going, buddy.
all right. So with all of that, being said, and I'm really happy that we're able to talk about that because it's just it's so that is the real, I feel like, pandemic epidemic, I don't know, either one of those, it's that. And so what is a lesson, like working in the beauty industry, in the photography world, what is a lesson that you have learned because of what you do that you wish that regular people not in that industry would also get?
Wow. I think it just always comes back to the kind of the stuff I said before.
Yeah.
That first lesson for anybody is to check with themselves to see if their opinion here is accurate. And what I mean by that is everybody's so quick to say, well, this is how it needs to be, and this is what we're going to do. I've learned very quickly that you have to look at things from another angle, and that always assuming that something is right because you think it is based off your conditioning and where you're at is right. You have to learn that, I just wish more people took the time to see things from both sides and to maybe take a pause before
Yeah.
having to interject with their own mental chaos to say, well, this is how it should be. Well, it's like, well, and based off of what? Who did you grow up with? Who were you around? Where are you located? How much money was coming in? Did you have access to food? What kind of school did you go to? And how have you advanced your life moving on? And what has happened to you that's maybe affected that? So when you really think about all those things down that scale and you hear somebody spouting an opinion, I now go, I wonder why they're coming at it from this angle. And then I try to find empathy, some kind of agreement in maybe what's coming in. And then when they come at me with something, I will try to pivot and let them know based off of where I'm at, what I think, and to see if there's that like open dialogue in there, if that makes sense. So my biggest thing is just finding, like, if more people could take a moment to realize you might be wrong and to listen before speaking, it would be, I think, very helpful to
Yeah.
the world as a whole.
Yeah. Like slow down so you can speed up.
I love that you just said that. If I could say this real quick, that's like one of my things I've been working on. So I love organizational psychology. And
Okay.
something I learned a while back is this saying, and people that are familiar with me, I say it often, and it's do less better.
Oh.
And so I firmly believe that if you have more than 3 priorities any day, you have no priorities.
Oh.
If you can whittle down the things that are actually truly important and can actually make a massive shift and change in where you'll be in a month or a week or a day, and you focus on that over everything else, you can be more effective in a shorter amount of time and help and do more for yourself and others if you can focus your priorities and literally do less better.
So
Like
you're saying that, and just from listening to you, like you picked up that camera, $600 camera, and you only knew like 3 functions, right? And you just did it. You just did it. You took what you had and you made it bigger. And then now you're saying this. So like, is this something that you've learned from experience, or did somebody teach you this, or like, where is this coming from?
So, well, it comes from a couple of years ago. I found somebody, people can look him up. I don't know anything about his politics or who he is or whatever, but there's a guy on YouTube. He goes by Dr. Benjamin Hardy. He's written a bunch of
Okay.
books, Dr. Benjamin
Okay.
Hardy. He's got some great videos on organizational psychology. He was the first person I ever heard to say that. I'm sure it was said before for everybody that
Sure.
fact checks. I'm sure it was said before. Um, but I heard him say that. That was a couple years ago when I was still pretty new into forming what my business is now, EditButter
Yeah.
Studios.
Okay.
But I've been working as on my own. I've been independent. Like I haven't had a job, like where I've had like a W-2
Right. Right.
since 20, I don't know, 2009, 2008,
Okay.
something like that, So I've
Yeah.
always been responsible for what's coming in and signing off and doing my own taxes, all that stuff.
Right.
The reason I bring that up is that I heard that from him. But honestly, yeah, I think people get too caught up in trying to do everything correctly and everything well. And when you really realize that your focus can only go so far, you're able to do better if you can lock into a couple things, because anyone can relate. If you have 10 things that have to get done in an hour, you might end up getting nothing done because you don't even know where to start. But if you can whittle down what's most important, like truly important, and will actually make the most beneficial impact from how you're going to get from A to Z, that's the game changer. And for myself, you said like I work with doctors and beauty brands. that's even hard for me.
Mm,
I still sometimes, and I've done it a couple times where I said, I'm not going to work with any more people in the hair industry and I'm going to work with just doctors.
yeah.
Because I find even just splitting those two specs, those two niches, there's so much that goes into the two that it's enough to run me completely into the ground.
Mm,
Um, but that's where a lot of my success has come from, is those two industries. So I focus there, but
mm,
even that's too much. And then with my clients, a lot of people that I work with, they're like, well, I want to do this and we're going to do this. And I've got this thing going. And I go, what matters right now? And are
mhm.
you making money? And what truly could actually change this direction for you to where you could do the
Mhm.
other things effectively if you stop doing them half-assed because you're still trying to cover everything else at the
Right.
same time. I
Right.
guess that's where it comes from. And just
Yeah.
learning that I can only do so much so well. And in business, like I'm a very good editor. I'm proud to
Mhm.
say that. I can say that with confidence because of the jobs I've done and what I've done. Um, but a lot of my stuff now is just me managing, and I farm out a lot of my editing to people that I trust
Mhm.
because I have to focus where I can make the most impact, and that is
Right.
taking care of all the people that rely on me. And then
Mhm.
I get the editors who I know are actually, like I said, I'm a good editor. I found
Mhm.
some people that are so much better than me, and it pisses me off, but I recognize it. And I go, all right, will you do this? Because it'll make all of us money and it'll make all of us look better.
Right. Right.
I'll do this piece, you handle that. I'm going to do this one section and I'm going to try not to screw it up. You do yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Love that is so true because when you love what you do, you just want to do like all of it. At
Yeah,
least for me, like I want to do
sure.
all of it all the time because it fills me up. But then I also have other things that I want to accomplish and do for the other parts of me too. So
Mm,
that's totally relatable. I love that you said it.
well said. Thank you. Well, thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
Nobody ever asked me these things. I love it.
I see your face and I'm like, this is great.
Nice. The light's
uh,
too bright. I'm too shiny.
what's an area that no one agrees with you about?
Oh man, there's a lot of them.
That's great.
There's a lot of them. What's an area that nobody agrees with me about? Oftentimes it's just taking risks when they're comfortable. Um,
Hmm.
I think that's one of the biggest things. And I say that in the sense of, I can use this for example. I won't name the company, but a very
Okay.
reputable, big name brand company hired me to take over video production and stuff for them in this last year.
Okay.
It was supposed to be this big deal. They're paying a decent amount of money and big name associated, lots of travel, all the cool things. I come into it and then I learned that they have another company that's working with them on the social media side. And I was brought in under the assumption that I'd be helping with video, but also how we're going to adjust the social media to get those numbers higher. They're
Mm.
already doing really well, numbers wise, followers wise. But when you
Mhm.
look at how the content actually performs from an
Mm.
engagement and other views and all those things, you see that they're suffering and that they're struggling.
Mhm.
The company itself was great, but the other team was so bent into their ideas of other things, they weren't willing to try anything differently. And I spent more time arguing with them, trying
Ah.
to get things to be done differently, just to see if I was right or wrong, to see if the ideas that I was asked to do, what I
Mm.
was brought in for, would work. But they were so, again, locked there, and they still are. They're so locked
Oh.
into their opinions
Mhm.
and their facts about what
Mhm.
works and what doesn't work, that everything I said or suggested to do was either not good enough. Oh, we've done that already. It doesn't perform because of this. Brand values, blah, blah, blah. To me, a lot of it's just a bunch of BS. Everybody's like, well,
Mhm.
our brand is this, and we do this, we do that. I'm like, okay, but you came to me because you're struggling.
Mhm.
If you're not willing to change anything, you're not only wasted your time, but you're wasting mine. And notice how months later, it actually ended up only working out for 6 months because I stepped away because I was tired of battling instead of actually being productive. And they're still doing the same. Numbers are struggling, um, and they've changed nothing. So that's the hardest thing for me. People that want to do something, but aren't willing to actually put their actions where their comments are, where their thoughts are. And that's the hardest. That's the hardest thing. Because I'm like, if you're not willing to test things, to see what might work better and to actually pay attention to what the person inside the camera on their phone, like what they actually want to engage with. If you're not willing to really figure that out because brand value says this, or, well, it's got to be this color, or, well, it's got to do this. It's like, if you care more about that than your actual connection, you deserve to fail. And so that's the biggest thing that pisses me off with anybody, period.
Yeah. No, yeah. No, I get that. Like, I became a coach. Like, I got certified and all that stuff to be a coach
Nice.
because I think I took my grandmother to one of her doctor's appointments, and the nurses are always very rude. Okay, let's just be real and raw. They're rude. They got problems. We all have problems. I get it. But they were literally driving me crazy. And then that same week, I was consulting with a lawyer about something. And again, so rude. Like, I'm just like, what is your problem? What is your problem? In the salon, we are trained to leave our problems at home. So why aren't you doing that? And you're a professional.
Yeah.
So that was like a real reason why I became a coach, at least one of them. And I hear that you're working with doctors a lot. How do you communicate, I guess, with them? Or what made you want to work with doctors?
Well, first, I want to say I get what you're saying. I really think a lot of other industries could benefit from that idea of remembering that. So I know you've interviewed a lot of people in the hair space. I was trained in Paul Mitchell schools, and I used to do platform work on stage for Paul Mitchell. But one of the first things when you come into Paul Mitchell is they make you a day maker, right? And you check everything at the door, and or what a day maker, I forget the words. But yeah, it's literally, they're like, cool, your house just burned down, but you're going to do this person's color. You can talk about it, but don't bring them down about it. Make their day better, because you're a therapist in a way, and they're coming to you to make their life better in a certain way. There's a bunch of different opinions, again, right? Ways to look at that, what you can do, can't do, don't talk, blah, blah, blah. But I still think if somebody's coming to you for a service, they're coming to you for a service. They're not coming to you to feel even worse about the state of the world. So I agree with you on that. And it's hard, especially in different industries, because I deal with it all the time. I come in and I'm always nice. And then the moment people pivot, I stay nice, but then I get really firm very quickly. And I'm like, here's what I need. Can you do that for me? Or do I need to speak to somebody else who can get it done? I am nice, but I've also stopped letting people walk all over me, which is very important. I think you're aware of that too.
Yeah.
Takes
practice. So anyone listening, that takes masterful practice. Okay. I have overcorrected many times.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, trust me, I get it wrong 90% of the time.
I will have my coffee one day and there goes people's heads. Okay.
Oh yeah. I pissed off a lot of people with my attitude. Trust me. I've learned very quickly to say less. Yeah. I forgot where I was going with that. What was the original part of the question? I'm sorry.
Something about, it was about the doctors. Like, what made you want to work with the doctors? Yeah.
So yeah, with all that, what made me want to work with them? I'm going to be really honest.
Yeah.
And
please.
This is something that, people, we go back and forth. As somebody who's worked for free and done a lot of stuff and helped a lot of people, part of the reason I pivoted into doctors and things like that is doctors already make a lot of money. And if you can help a doctor or somebody in any position make more money, they will pay you a lot of money. And I like that. And that's part of the reason I work with doctors and, certain people in the hair world. And I say that to anybody that listens further than that before they sound clip it, soundbite it, is I did a lot of stuff for free, and I took on a lot of payments and did a lot of things in other industries. I did music videos. I've done hair for people. Like, I've done so much for people where they were like, we're going to do this music video for $1,000. And then I paid for everything out of pocket myself, and they didn't pay me back for 2 years.
Oh no.
That has actually happened to me. Put it on a credit card, eating the fees, doing all the things just to make their music video pop. And I end up finding out I'm more invested in what their output is going to be on this product than they actually are. That happened to me enough that I realized I need to work with people that make money so that I can make money in order to make the goals that I do. Because I basically have this thing in my life, this theory in my life now where I'm like, I will work with people that make a lot of money and I will charge them accordingly and do that, or I will do stuff for free. nothing in between.
Mhm.
I'm going to help out, and I do it often. I help out other people. I do other edits. I help them with social programs. I do a lot of consulting, different things for people for free because I can do it on my time and I don't have to get too invested and I can really make an impact and
Mhm.
not hurt them financially. And
Right.
I can only do that because I'm able to afford what I need to do because I'm charging accordingly with the people that already make a lot of money. Um,
Right.
and that's a huge thing. So help people, help people that make money, and you too will make money. And that pisses a lot of
Yeah.
people off, but it's
Yeah.
where I'm at. I grew
Yeah.
up poor. I grew up on food stamps in public housing. I know what it means to not have money. I know what it means to go to a church to get donated food, to have a meal.
Mhm.
And I'm not afraid to stand up and say, I like to work with people that make money because they also will take it more seriously. Because often you do
Mhm.
find that too, is anybody that actually puts their pocket and their checkbook towards something and put some skin in the game, they're going to respond to you. They're going to show
Yes.
up. They're going to do the things necessary to have an outcome that's actually going to make an impact. And
Mhm.
everybody that wants to do everything for just a couple $100, they're late to appointments. They miss my
Yep.
calls. They don't respond to texts, and their numbers and their output sucks because they're not committed because it's just a joke to them at that point.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah. And then often doctors, since they're already making money, it's not a problem for them to pay you.
Right. Right. Okay, so before I asked, I was like, he's gonna say money.
Yeah.
He's gonna say money, but I want
Yeah.
to see how he's gonna say money.
Yeah.
And you blew me away because it's so true. Like just thinking about it, like doctors, lawyers, like they paid a lot of money to go to school.
Mhm.
They got debts,
Mhm.
believe it or not. So then they got to charge a lot so they can pay their debts. And then they actually worked for where they're at. So they're going to cherish somebody else who's a professional. And I feel like a lot of people out there, whether it's, their hairstylist, their barber, makeup artist, whatever, like this has happened to my team and I've had to step in because it drives
Mhm.
me freaking crazy where they're like, "Oh, did you have to go to school for this? You're just literally playing Barbie all day.
Mhm.
You're just putting soap on their face." It's like,
Wow.
"Excuse me. No." And I like have this whole rant and I go through it. But anyway, thank you for sharing that.
Wow. No,
Right? Isn't it crazy?
yeah. No, I've heard it all. I totally get it. I totally get that. But and again, I think it's a good thing because um and that's just why I have that philosophy, right? And like it's
Mhm.
like people are like, well, you charge a lot. And I'm like, well, because I need people that are not going to waste my time. Because I've had a lot
Right.
of people waste my time. I'm older. I'm going gray. If I'm going to put so much effort into the psychology behind how to make you interesting on camera, then let's do it,
Right.
and it works. And when they take it seriously, it works. Like for last month, for instance, we had one of our dentists
Mhm.
who got $17,000 in book services for that month alone off of
Mhm.
one TikTok video. So
Whoa.
you go, okay, well, if I charge you, 2, 3, 5 grand a month,
You're going to be fine.
and you can make that in a month off of one video, they don't care. And
Right.
and then that allows me again to take care of the people I need to take care of and to
Mhm.
lose my mind accordingly.
Yeah, right. Know your audience, folks. So what do you have going on in case anybody listening wants to work with you? How do they work with you? What services do you offer?
Nice. That's a great question. Thank you for that. So what do we offer? So EditButter Studios, ridiculous name. I do it because I do that name because it catches people's attention. We're not, something productions like everybody else. We're Edit
Mhm.
Butter. But so we can help, mainly people in the doctor and beauty space. There can occasionally be people outside of that as well. Um, from everything for their content, either ideation, so like
Mhm.
consulting ideation from ideas that they
Mhm.
can go and film and put out themselves, and then we can help them adjust accordingly. Or we can literally sit down with a company or any people and come up with the ideas. We will film the ideas. We will edit the ideas. We will post the ideas. We will write the copy for the ideas, and we will build out a content map for usually up to 3 months at a time.
Mhm.
Um, and that's the main thing we do for people. But sometimes we get people that they just film their own stuff. They want us to edit it, and then we
Mhm.
kind of oversee how they disperse those across social. So yeah, everything from just editing the videos to literally handing all and everything that is their content machine so that they have a presence and they can
Mhm.
focus on their job instead of social media, instead of making videos. We handle that entire burden of coming up with the ideas and then putting them out into the world.
Mm-hmm. And what's the website? EditButterCheese.com?
That's good.
No?
That's great. Just editbutter.com. Yep, editbutter.com.
Okay.
And it's EditButter Studios on Instagram, TikTok. And then
Okay.
I'm Ryan at editbutter.com if you want to send me an email.
So, yes. We're going to have all these links in the show notes.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes.
What final question, because time is leaving. What is a question that I did not ask that you wish I did, and how would you have answered?
Oh, wow. What's a question you didn't ask? And how would I have answered?
Yeah.
How would I have answered? Oh, goodness.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. I think what a good question that anybody can ask somebody in a business space is, especially a service space, how do you pick the people that you work with?
Oh.
And the reason I say that, because you asked, what do you do? And if people want to work with you. What I've learned is that I don't work with everybody. And I've learned it the hard way. So now when people go, I want to work with you, I go, let's talk and I'll see if I want to work with you. Because if you're not willing to take chances, if you don't want to do different things, if you think everything's just fine, yet you came to me to help, we've got a problem. If your ego's so big that you can't take my suggestions, you're not looking at the questions, and we can't work fluidly together in a collaborative way to see what does work, I don't want to work with you. And a lot of times that has nothing to do with money, obviously. I would like to say I'll do a ton of things. Like somebody would come up to me, offer me a bunch of money, I would do it. I don't know if I would, because at the end of the day, my soul and like who I am inside, I need to work with people that don't make me want to just throw myself down the stairs at the end of the day, because I've done that for too long. Right. So it's like, are you cool? Are you open to ideas? And are you committed and you actually want to make this work? Then I want to work with you. Right. But if you've already got all the answers and you're going to be a dick, then why did you reach out to me in the first place? Go do it by yourself. Right. Which is funny too, because if anybody goes to like my pages and other stuff, I have like hardly any, I've erased all my videos off of Instagram. I've only got a couple. I got a lot more on TikTok just because it's too hard to delete them all.
Yeah.
But it's because literally even my own brand suffers in the sense that all my energy, all my time, all my money, everything I do goes into the people I work with, the people that hire me to do stuff. All of it. Like I don't even have anybody editing videos for me anymore for my own content. And again, that's financial, because I'm not at that peak where I want to be. But the other thing is all of my focus, all of my energy goes into the people who are so committed in what they're doing that they get all of me and my team. And those are the only people I want to work with.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you for letting me talk.
You are so welcome. Thank you for coming on and for being so cool about the whole thing.
You're right.
You guys, if you are listening or watching this episode, feel free to reach out to Ryan. He is a cool dude. I'm so happy. I will talk to you guys next week. Thank you.
If you loved this episode, subscribe to the BeautyPro Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to leave your reviews, stars, feedback so I can continue bringing the content you deserve and want most. Your feedback fuels this podcast. The more you give, the more you get back. You can follow me at The Beauty Pro Coach on Instagram and Facebook. Want to contact me directly? Email me at befree@goldentruthcoaching.com.